right, good afternoon. How's it going? How's it going? What's new? Nothing much. All right, beautiful day outside. Any plans for the weekend? Yeah. I had a little chilly this morning, but now it's nice. Which leads us into motivation, right? Who feels motivated because the weather's changed? Anybody feel, raise your hand if you feel a little bit more motivated? Changes everything. Which means we all should probably move to Miami. The sunlight and warm weather makes us more motivated. Probably in the wrong environment. Okay, we have a presentation today, but before that, we will continue on with motivation. By the way, next Friday we'll have our third exam, which day we'll stay home. We'll do exam review Monday and Wednesday, and I'll upload the slides for your reference and kind of the same format. Our final exam, which will be our last student class, it'll be different than our first three exams, right? Because the psychology department has a standardized exam. Everybody in psychology takes the same exam. It's kind of cumulative, kind of everything you learn, research, or all the different things. That was multiple choice, fill in the blank, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a little bit different. That'll be our final. The third exam will be the same format. Okay, where do we leave off? Right, we say, hey, human beings need motivation in order to act. You have acted in your life. You are here at this particular moment in time. What led you here? There are a ton of things, series of events. But most importantly, I would say what led you here is different mindsets. You've persisted. You have taken on some challenges. You've set goals. Why did those goals become your goals in the first place? Why did you decide to persist over one thing versus another? Right? What does it say about us? Are our emotions tied into it? Sure. We can say, hey, the temperature has changed, it's made us all more motivated, and it's probably given us more energy. Right? We feel better, now we're more energetic. So, once again, the psychological reality translates to biological process. Right? We release some hormones to put us amped up and want to go outside and do stuff. Right? First thing this morning, we might have felt groggy and not want to do anything. Right? So things change. I take my coffee every day, and so we say, hey, my coffee involves caffeine, right? It releases all sorts of, it blocks out things, but also releases other things too. That makes me feel energetic. And energy makes me motivated and excited and stimulated, and it changes my focus, it changes attention, all these different things, right? So in this kind of segment, we'll talk about, well, what can you do about your thinking, right? How can you increase motivation? Is it the environment? Is it the people that's in your way that we often say it is? Where, oh, it's this, it's that, this is the reason. We're like, as we kind of learn through the semester, it's you. It's kind of usually always. We said Nietzsche, a great philosopher, said overcoming self is the main goal of life. The only thing blocking you is you. Right? Through all sort of other reasons. And so how do we overcome ourselves? We overcome ourselves by thinking differently. Oh, I'm not good at math. I'm not going to do this. But why aren't you good at it? Because this is that the only reason. Can you think differently to change your motivation to be good at something? Right? So we said we have to act. One of kind of the sort of models here is like, hey, we need arousal, persistence, direction, and intensity, right? We can change all this. But maybe aside from that, we can say first we need to act first, right? First thing you need to act. Next thing you need is to persist, which means you don't have to like anything that involves your goals. Nowhere in this equation that says, I need to like it. I'm not good at it because I don't like it. That's not necessarily how it works in nature. I don't think that most organisms want to do what they do because they like it, or even if it's comfortable. But what we have learned is that you have come this far because you've overcome things you probably did not like and did not want to do in the first place. Think about it. Who wants, you probably just want the degree without the classes, the courses, the lecture, all the time. But you know that that's not a reality. So some people choose not to come do the work, and others choose to continue to go on and, tackle education, institutional education. Right? So we said we have to think about how we think of motivation. Right? Are we seeking comfort and only that? Usually that means that we won't connect new neurons in our brain. People will go far beyond us. Why? Because they did hard things that they didn't want to do. Now they've learned something new that most importantly involves themselves. They were able to overcome themselves. The other person can be lazy. They don't want to overcome themselves. It's very comfortable not to do anything. But we may look at their brain and see there might be little connections and synapses. Right? So we're like, hey, challenges are good. That's why you've been, think about when you're doing presentations, like who wants to come up here and talk? But for me, I think it's awesome. Why do I think it's awesome? I maybe look at it as a different approach. Which means that my attention is different. But this takes time. My attention is not people think about me, what I dress, what I wore. I don't really care. It should be about the context of the stuff we're talking about, the content, right? And that's what makes some people great public speakers, right? Some people presidents, some people CEOs, where you gotta talk to them, and the other people who are in the stands watching. You either play the game, you're playing, or you're in the stands watching the game. Two different types of people with two different types of, I would say interest, maybe they're not interested, right? But if you are interested in it and you can't overcome yourself, then you gotta figure out what it is to stop it. So first things first, you are the problem. You have to overcome yourself, right? Other people, sure, we can blame them, but we can always, we said we don't have to like it. It's not supposed to be an easy, peaceful story. That's not what life is. The greatness comes with overcoming stuff that you don't want to do, right? Imagine even athletes. Who wants to practice? You just want to play. Who wants to practice and do all that stuff? But you do it anyway. It's part of the process. Okay, why spend a fortune making this window, right? Jung, one of our great psychologists, colleague of Freud, says that some motivation suggests that the construction of great cathedrals was motivated by the needs for personal understanding and self-actualization. Means architecture is some sort of expression of our ideals, what we wish to become, how we think things should be. We're motivated to express that, even though it may be a reality, because it may not be a reality because it's abstract. So we say, hey, it goes beyond the self. We self-actualize, figure out who we are, we overcome ourselves, and we transcend, we go beyond. So Jung says that these windows symbolize people's motivation to attain a stable, similar understanding of self. This is to say, if you look out at anything in the world, take this institution, for example. One walks around and says, well, how is the institution of a university set up? Universities have colleges. Right? Well, what's a college? A college deals with a particular area of interest. And a university encompasses many colleges. College of nursing, college of psychology, the college of engineering, the college of blah, blah, blah. Right? So really think about university, it's like beyond even fields of study, it's an actual community of different fields, different areas of interest. It's almost like a small city. So it's a bringing together of people who have similar interests about learning, right? And we'll talk about how learning plays a part in motivation too. Trust, right? Nothing operates without trust. The first thing you would take in law school is contracts. Like, why contract? What's so important? The world operates on agreements. We didn't trust each other, nothing would get done, ever. want us to deliver that tomorrow? Amazon? Yeah, sure. Alright, no. Alright, so the world operates on trust. We need trust. So human trust is unique in animal kingdom. Right? We have these complex languages, these complex emotions. Other organisms not that complex. Right? When it comes to emotions and thinking about it. So human societies evolved through social systems that rely on trust, may have contributed to evolution of emotional reactions. With trust comes emotions. Right? The lack of trust comes apprehension. We have different emotions about it. We see people in a different light of who we can trust. We communicate with them. But once again, we say the psychological becomes biological. So if we trust, and if we want to build trust, think about this, even in romantic relationships. If you want to build trust with a partner, here they're talking about babies and moms, not a relationship, fathers and their children. Right? If you want to build trust, we got things like oxytocin, the love drug, the nurturing drugs. Right? So we say the hormones that activate muscles needed for childbirth and stimulates the release of breast milk in the brain, and they stimulate feelings of trust. Anyone here been present for someone's childbirth? Like actually been in the room? You have. What, tell me typically what do they do immediately when a baby comes out? What do they want parents to do with the baby?
Either, well, I was recommended a brother first, and at first, like, the nurses take like need milk, and then they give it to the parents, so they can do skin to skin.
Skin to skin contact. Not just mommy, but daddy. Right? And you're like, wow, why right there? And it works. Oxytocin is released, and now baby trusts this particular individual. Not random other individuals in the hospital, not cousins and aunties. These particular individuals. Hormones are released. Oxytocin is released. For mommy, for daddy, for everybody else. The love drug. Right? For us to say, let's bond together, we're close, I trust you, I'll open up to you, I'll communicate with you in some way. Right? And if we think we don't have that, it's not released. Right? We don't have to have a connection with certain people. Right? That hormone's not released. Same thing goes with any other hormones that we're talking about. It has a purpose. Right? Why does oxytocin have variable effects on motivated behavior? So oxytocin's effects vary amongst people with varying levels of social skills. Right? So we say, hey, we're all still socially different in a way. It's a case-by-case basis. Increased accuracy amongst people with very low social skills, but not amongst others. Right? So we say with people who have low social skills, and maybe particularly introvert, I would say. I wouldn't even say introverts. I say people who tend to be more antisocial, right? But it helps those people, right? They're low in something, but it increases their accuracy. It makes up for a deficit. In low relationship anxiety participants, oxytocin created more positive recollections, right? Positive recollections. So we say people who have relationship anxiety. Positive recollections would be, hey, there was some good times that we had, right? Different positive reactions. And high relationship, well, that was low. So for high relationship anxiety, less positive recollection. So what this is saying is people who had a healthy relationship with low anxiety, they tend to speak more positive on the person. They tend to recollect. People with unhealthy relationships or high anxiety, they'll talk about why they broke up. Person you talk about, that person was a scumbag. You're like, wow, scumbag. How long were you with him? 10 years. Wow, how does that make sense? Right? They'll talk negative about the person. And then we said, well, was there anything positive? 10 years is 10 years. You're like, I don't want to talk about it. Right? You're like, but that doesn't make up a whole relationship. A relationship is all things, all experiences included. Right? Thinking and motivation, cognition and motivation, different thought types affects motivation and influence personal agency, right? Once again, this is personal. Why do you think the way you think about things that you find to be challenging? Why is it challenging? What happened along the way? Why do you feel that way? Was it an experience you had? Was it some trauma? And if so, if you understood that, can you change the way that you think about that to move you past some things that are blocking your life? All right, one of these goals, which are key to motivation, is setting a goal. All right, we said mental representation of the aim of an activity. More simply, goals are thoughts about future outcomes that people value. Hence the case value has to be important, or what we call salient, right? You have to make it important. No one says it's important in some sort of universal way. What's important to me is not important to you, and vice versa, right? But make it important, and you can change your motivation about it. Personal agency, the power to influence your own level of motivation and thus your activities in the course of your life. Right? So we say these people who have a strong personal agency have the power to influence their own motivation. Can you give me some examples on how you go about influencing your own personal motivation for things? What do you do? What are some thinking sort of activities? What do you do to stay motivated? What do you do? Some things you do to stay motivated. Even when it's school, like, when you lose motivation for school, what do you do to keep it back in and keep going? Yes?
Some people create like mood boards and things like that, like what they want to do in their future, just to keep themselves motivated.
Yeah, people keep notes, little boards with goals on them, right? Sticky notes. Write stuff down, a journal, right? People keep some sort of some physical mental representation about why they want to achieve things, right? And they're able to visualize it. They're able to see it all the time, right? If you're able to see it all the time, you're aware of it constantly. You're like, oh, the reason why I'm here, even when you get down about things, you're like, this sucks. But I remember the reason why I started this whole process was for these things, right? You go back to a different mindset, like, this was the reason why I started this thing. I originally wanted this goal. And I get it along the way, like, hey, stuff happened, life's not perfect, right? It may suck. Right? The same goes with a job, why you stick with a job. You may have a crappy boss, right? You may have all sorts of things, but you may want to keep going for some way. You have to influence. Some people use, when it's very personal, some people use family, right? So me coming from a large family, I'm like, I had 12 brothers and sisters. I'm observing them throughout my life. I'm the baby. And I see the outcomes of their life based on some choices, actions, decisions. I probably should not do the same sort of processes that they've done. But that's personal, right? I don't have to look out in the world to find random strangers about cause and effect. I can look at my own family and say, I want to do something different because I see the results of what happened here with the people because of the things they didn't do, right? Which for me was education was extremely important. It was a factor that most of the rest of the family didn't have. So if anything, like it could have worked, it could not have worked, right? All the education, but it ended up working. But even the drive to do all that, just like you like the drive to do all this work to finally achieve some goal. It says a lot about you personally. It says you have persistence, right? Concrete challenging goals. We need specificity. Specific goals indicate exactly what is to be accomplished. Sometimes we're not too sure about the goals that we have in mind, right? I can ask you maybe on your professions, why you choose them, why you choose the major, the minor, etc. Most of you may say like, I don't really know. This is what I kind of felt at the time. are you truly invested in it? Like, no, I'm still trying to figure it out, not 100% sure. Right? But if that's a problem to your motivation for school, you may want to get a little bit more specific. You may want to start taking serious analysis about, like, what do you truly like? What are you truly gifted at? What are you truly good at? Instead of the ideal of, like, I would like to do this. Right? Knowing that that's really not who you are as a person. Challenging goal setters outperform those who set easier goals. So people who do things that are more uncomfortable for them tend to outperform those who do not. So if someone says, I hate math, it sucks, and then get a hard math book and just start studying it randomly, they might outperform someone who says, I hate math, it sucks, and I'll just keep getting bad grades on math. Right? Because they're not even motivated to approach the real problem, the boogeyman in the room, right? So the point is to challenge yourself. Make it hard on purpose. Make it hard on purpose. Now, as a side note, right, we said we have personal things happening. We tend to live in a world of regret often, right? Which to me is a very negative way of thinking, right? I think regret is one of the worst things mentally you can ever have, right? Because you're focusing on something you can never change, right? Nobody can ever change, no matter how much money you get, whatever. There's a famous book by a philosopher that I like called Soren Kierkegaard. Anyone ever heard of Kierkegaard? No? Kierkegaard? Right. Anyway, in the book's called I the Whore. So basically says, no matter what you do, there'll always be a hint of regret. Have children, you regret. Don't have children, regret that too. Get married, you regret. Don't get married, you regret that too. Go to school, you'll regret it. Don't go to school, you'll regret that too. The list goes on and on and on. Right? Basically says that most human beings always live in a state of some ideal perfection about their choices. So that's the worst way of living. Right? And so, he says, don't think that way. It stops your motivation, right? It stops your sort of greatness to some way. Proximal and distal goals, right? Proximal, goals that specifies what should be done in the near proximal future. So we say, hey, once again, remember we saw with positive reinforcement. TikTok keeps your attention, right? TikTok motivates you. You say, how did TikTok motivate you? I know it motivates you because you go on the app every day. You go on the app, you look at random videos all the time. Maybe one of the greatest motivators in your life would be Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. It would be social media. Like, well, how do they do it? How do they keep motivating me every day? They give you little short-term, near proximal things. You can do the same thing with your own personal life and your goals. You say, what is my goal this week? What is my goal today? Instead of thinking in a year. So we say a temporal mindset, a time frame. Make your goals shorter. Hey, what can I accomplish today? What's the goal? 50 push-ups. Making up your bed. Clean up the house. Go get your car washed. Right? Talk to somebody you haven't talked to. Those can all be proximal goals. And we know that it motivates you to feel even better about yourself, which in turn makes you do even more things. Distal goals, goals that specify an achievement in a distant future, such as your degree, right? Still a ways away. Feedback, information indicating progress towards a goal, such as grades, right? Such as completing the course. Situations with feedback give motivation. Grades give you motivation. You will continue to take more courses because when you get your grades, if they're good, let's say they're all A's, you're gonna call somebody and you're gonna tell them about it. Now you feel motivated to continue to take more courses. Someone who got all B's and F's probably dropped out of school. Man, they're not good. Loss of motivation. The feedback was poor. Situations without feedback, frustration and demotivation. So think about this. So we say, hey, you know what? Let's say we're in a relationship with somebody and they don't open up or express or talk. You're like, I'm so frustrated with this person. And now I have a lack of motivation to even continue the relationship. Why? They don't provide feedback. All I do is talk. And they don't tell me about their emotions, their feelings, their mindset. Back them out. Right? It's frustrating because we say frustration is the unknown. We don't like the unknown. Right? Even if we get a BS answer from people, it's still an answer, even if it's BS. And that leads to either demotivation, right? We're out, we're tapped out. And lastly, we can talk about personal projects. Hey, incorporate a number of different actions with a common purpose that extend over a significant period of time. I oftentimes advise students that, Facebook was created by whom? Who's the creator of Facebook? And Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook where? In his college dorm. So like, Mark Zuckerberg, don't you still gotta go to class? And you gotta go to psychology class, Mark Zuckerberg? You're like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, what else you got going on? I'm working on this like social media thing. That's wonderful. I wonder if that motivates you even with school, that you got something else going on besides classes. Right? So I often advise people, think of this. This is the last time in your life that you'll be surrounded by these many people who are this smart, this young, and this motivated, who will work for free. That's it. So you literally can get together, if you were savvy enough, you can say, I'm gonna put together 20 people for this app that I'm gonna create in the future. It's gonna rival TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. I got a computer science major, I got a computer engineer, I got a marketing dude, I got a management dude, I got this person, right? But I got a project, and I'm still going to classes. But that project alone will motivate you to love school, because the people involved in the project is from school. And they're just as motivated and eager to learn. And guess what? Presented to some investors, they're like, here you go, 50 million. We want 20% interest income. 50 million, 10 years down the line, you put up on the New York Stock Exchange, they value stock at $20 a share. Now we look on Forbes and you're worth 80 billion. That quick. I'm not saying it's that easy, but I'm just saying a project matters. A lot of people don't have any other projects outside of school going on, in which case they lack motivation. They think school's a drag, because it's just all about the classes. All right, I will in there, and we're gonna have our next presentation from Rosia and Isale. How's a self-care routine important to our mental health caution? If you need to look at it.
Hi everybody, our presentation is about how a self-care routine is important to our mental health as college students. What is self-care routine? According to World Health Organizations, self-care is defined as the regardless of whether mentally or physically. And also consider some hobbies that you like to do. So for example, some people journal, walk, or work out, eat healthy, pray, meditate. Make note that there's no right or wrong way to do self-care. It depends on the person. It works. What works for you might not work for someone else.
Okay, so these are our discussion questions. You have a self-care routine, so what do you consider most important step?
Anyone has a self-care routine they wish to share, or at least tell us what's the most important aspect of that self-care routine?
And then I have recess day where I like, I don't touch my laptop, or I'll do my homework on subject, and then I'll like do like my full skincare, I like shower, I feel like I'll burn that time, I cry it out, and I watch like a show or TikTok, and then take naps during the day so that I can just feel energized for Monday and start off fresh.
Okay. What do you think is the most important in all of those steps?
Probably mine.
Okay. Right, and like that could be very helpful. Think about if we have anxiety or stress and we're holding it in all the time. We're human. We're built to cry. We're built to express. We're built to get these energies out of us. And people who don't get them out, they just pin them in because they, perceive it to be something else. They struggle, right? Eventually it overboils and you see people explode in some way. Well, so let me think about self-care. The first thing is prayer. I think gratitude and first thing is being thankful, being alive. Because the way I see it, that literally every day is a new life. We live in cycles. You're awake, and you sleep. You may not wake up next time you fall asleep. If you do, you probably be like, wow, what a miracle, I woke up again. That to me changes my whole day today. Wow, here's another episode of this TV show called Life that I get to participate in. And I'm gonna make it exciting. So that's how I think about it. So that would be my most important step.
The second question is, do you believe a self-care routine is important to your mental health? And do you think it plays a small or big factor?
What do you think? Is it important? Is it not important? Anyone argue against it? Yes.
I think it's very important. I feel like if you don't take time to like take care of yourself, then like you're just gonna get super overwhelmed and eventually just burn out, which is also not a good thing. So I think it's a really big factor.
Anyone else? Yes.
Whenever I go through like my routine or whatever, I'll feel like more stressed. So I'll be like, I literally have time, I'm just wasting time doing nothing. And so like whenever I do stick to my routine, I usually feel like encouraged to do it again because like I could finish it on time and I just feel better overall.
Yeah, maybe related to the chapter, we say, hey, your self-care routine is a goal. And if you miss a couple steps out of that goal every day, you might feel inadequate. Like, I don't feel myself, right? How come I didn't finish that? How come I didn't complete that? And it might motivate you to be, I'm gonna make sure I do it tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's another chance to do your goal. I think it's the most important thing. I don't see the point in all this stuff if you're not taking care of yourself. Like literally this is pointless. What, money, materialistic stuff, degrees, status, blah, 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 if you're not taking care of yourself, like mentally feeling great about yourself. I personally think it's like pointless.
Lastly, what role does technology play in your self-care routine? And do you use apps for your self-care?
Anyone use this apps in their daily routine of life as self-care? Any kind of apps? In the back? Get your hand up? No. Anyone, any apps? Fitness apps? Anyone monitor stuff on their Apple Watch or their iPhone? Fitness?
I mean, like, I consider listening to music like kind of self-care, so I guess like Spotify.
Okay, you can say Spotify could be self-care, right? You could say TikTok or Instagram could be, if there's people that you follow. That you like, I like their personal development, I like their makeup routines, or whatever the case may be. There's like prayer apps, right? To monitor like your prayer life, or to notify you that you should pray or meditate, something of the sort. Yeah, and I think overall it's just maybe self-care for me too, is communicating with people. Right? Like I don't feel great if I don't talk to mom every day or kids or something. So even maybe FaceTiming, video chatting with them is important for me too, that self-care. All right, excellent. Great job. So let me ask you, was there anything, could you tell us about your self-care routines that you can share? Or what's the most important aspect? Do you use apps? Kind of same questions here that you have for yourself.
I mean, for me, the first question, I always wash my hands my face, once I get up, I feel like it refreshes me. I don't know, it makes my mood like active.
Hey, Shane, I'm telling you, 70% of our body is made of water. That means that we should be by water, near water, or drinking water. When I put water on my face first thing in the morning, I don't know why. It just changes everything. It feels like I'm finally awake. Like something else.
Yeah, for me, I do my skincare routine, so I feel like whenever I'm stressed or sick, like my face needs to break out a lot. So I just kind of feel like I don't feel the best. So like when I do that, I feel like more refreshed.
Yeah, you feel like, man, I feel like my best for the day that I present myself. Hey, there's small things. In the Army, let's say like in the military, you're like, hey, we're gonna go do a 5-mile run. You're like, oh gosh, not again. It's cold outside. It's muddy, blah, blah, blah. How do you motivate the soldiers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. They literally came up with a system and process to literally just distract your mind about running so fast, right? So you can integrate any kind of small little thing, do something personal that you create to say, this is what I do because I know this is kind of challenging for me mentally. I'll create a process for it to work. I tell you, sometime when in the morning when I wash my face, I'll do 3 splashes because I feel like it's almost a morning baptism, and I do exactly 3 on purpose. I feel like it's a baptism, and it's meaningful to me, right? It could be meaningless to anybody else. It's meaningful to me because it kind of refreshes me in a spiritual way, and that's motivates me to keep going. All right, that is it. Hey, who's our next group? Who hasn't? Raise your hand if you have not presented yet. So we'll say, when are you presenting? Next Wednesday?
I think so.
Okay, next Wednesday.
Well, not for, it was like a different person.
Did you communicate with that person?
Yeah, I tried to her though. I tried to talk to her.
Okay, try it again. So Wednesday, next Wednesday, and then maybe your group, I think, is the following Wednesday. I think you